Just at about a past here. Oh, thanks, Sean. Let's get started here. Thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. We are thrilled to have you with us here today. My name is Matt Mayhus. I head up the marketing group at OpenVPN, and I'm excited to kick off our event here today. Before I pass it over to Sean Galrez, who is our featured speaker, a couple of quick housekeeping items. The first is today's meeting is being recorded. You probably just heard the recording notification here. This will be shared with all of the attendees here today, as well as registrants. If you wanted to review some of the content again or share with colleagues, the recording will be sent out here shortly after today's meeting. Second, everyone's line is going to be on mute today. We've got a good-sized group of attendees here and want to make sure that we can avoid any crying kids and barking dogs here. So all the attendees' lines are going to be on mute. With that said, if you do have questions or comments, we ask that you enter them into the Q&A box. I see we already have some questions coming in already. So please enter them into the Q&A box, and we will address them here at the end of today's meeting. With that said, I'm excited to introduce Sean Galrez, a sales engineer at OpenVPN, to get started with today's event. Sean, I'll
Thank
pass
you,
it over to
Matt.
you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matt. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. As Matt mentioned, please enter your questions in the Q&A box as we go through the presentation. We have Matt and Rohit Kalbak, our VP of Product Marketing, on the call. Also, they can answer the questions as we go through this presentation. So without any further ado, I'm gonna start. I have a lot of things here to cover, topics to cover. I want to make sure that I address everything here, and we can answer any questions you may have also. So the agenda for today, we're going to do a quick introduction to OpenVPN as a company, who we are, and then we're going to talk about our two products. We have the commercial products that we have, Cloud Conexa and Access Server, and we're going to talk about next step, what you can do to sign up and use any of these two products for free to try, and then get help from our support or our engineering teams. So again, let's go ahead and start. So who we are as a company. OpenVPN actually is a network security company serving the secure remote access needs for small businesses to enterprises. Our on-prem and cloud-based products offer the essential of zero trust network access, or ZTNA, and built on a leading OpenVPN tunneling protocol. These days, everybody thinks about ZTNA, and everybody's trying to implement ZTNA framework in their networks. So our solutions deliver all the capabilities that organizations need to have a secure remote access for their teams, whether remote or not. So OpenVPN as a company is a result of collaboration between Francis Dena and James Yonan. They launched OpenVPN as a company about 18 years ago. Today, we have a global team of over 185 individuals. We're all over the world. And the first product that we have, Access Server, was launched in 2009 as a self-hosted solutions for remote access built on the open source code, basically. And some of the features of the Access Server includes web administration, access control, authentication mechanism, and clustering for high availability. Once I log into the admin user interface, I'll talk about these a little bit more in a few minutes. Then in 2020, we launched OpenVPN Cloud, which was rebranded to Cloud Conexa in 2023. This product is a cloud deliver and manage solution. Again, in a few minutes, we're going to log into the web admin of Cloud Conexa also, and you can see the product. Now, before I move from this slides, there are 2 points I want to make here. When we say remote access, we mean accessing anything not stored locally on your computer. So it's not just access to private application, it includes access to SaaS applications and the internet, regardless of where you are or where your employees or coworkers are, in a cafe, airport, or office. securing internet, secure to internet, secure connection to internet, and SaaS application. Now, our products support perimeter security and essential ZTNA functionality, as I mentioned earlier, allowing our customers to implement both modes of network security as desired and smoothly transition to full ZTNA mode of operations on their time frame. So we have nearly, actually, I think right now we have over 18,000 customers across a dozen industries and countries. So we are, as a company, OpenVPN is proud to deliver best of breed solutions for organizations of all sizes. So this was a quick introduction to the company, who we are as a company. Now let's talk about Cloud Conexa. That's one of our products. This is a cloud-based product. So what is Cloud Conexa? Basically, Cloud Conexa, and I'm sorry, my dog is barking. Matt was just talking about barking dogs, but my dog started barking. So Cloud Conexa is offered as a secure remote access service built on a multi-tenant network, basically providing customers with a dedicated wide area private cloud or WPC overlay network immediately as soon as you sign up. There's nothing else need to be done. Now, you're going to hear me referring to WPC throughout this presentation, especially when I talk about Cloud Conexa. That just keep in mind, when I say WPC, I mean the wide area private cloud. Now, the WPC basically allows businesses to connect their private networks, applications, and users seamlessly, providing an enterprise-grade cloud-delivered network security solutions that's easy to use and deploy. So, Cloud Conexa offers solutions to the challenges presented by increase in hybrid work model, especially in the last few years, and the confusion surrounding zero trust and zero trust network access, or ZTNA. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the zero trust and ZTNA confusion and how Cloud Conexa can address that. Again, ZTNA is on everybody's mind these days. So Cloud Conexa provides a unique approach to zero trust network access by instantly creating an isolated virtual network for a business that can be accessed by connecting to one of our 30 plus worldwide points of presence. Applications, servers, and other networks can connect to Cloud Conexa to make their applications part of the overlay network. These applications cannot be discovered because they are isolated from the internet. We have videos out there that we show this, that how these things can be cloaked and hidden. Only authorized and trusted devices can connect to the network if you set up the device identification and verification feature. And you can do everything based on a control access to needed application. Now, Cloud Conexa routes traffic to the application using advanced technologies based on the application domain names. These technologies basically cloaking the private IP address of the application servers or the network, and don't use any IP address routes. So microsegmentation is automatically applied per application, and there is no risk of lateral movement. Again, we have some videos out there on YouTube and Vimeo that this shows that even if you scan the network, you won't be able to find even private IP addresses. Everything is being cloaked pretty tightly. Now, the second thing that we can talk about here is the implementing zero trust principles. Now, Cloud Conexa supports the implementation of zero trust principles. Basically, it allows for the creation of access control policies and device identity verification enforcement that can enforce the never trust, always verify approach, which is one of the principles of ZTNA. And then flexible authentication methods. We're going to talk about that when I log into the admin UI. We support a number of authentication methods. If you have identity providers that you can use LDAP, SAML, which are the integral to establishing a zero trust environment. So these are a couple of features that how Cloud Conexa can address ZTNA. Now, key features or key product offerings of Cloud Conexa First, the device identity verification and enforcement. This feature actually came online a few months ago, is basically ensuring network access can happen only from authorized devices using their UUID. So users cannot use any devices they want. So you can control that. We do have application routing and segmentation, basically secure and segment application access and eliminating direct access and IP exposures. And that's a big one. And then we got App Hub. I'm going to talk about App Hub again once I log into the admin UI. Basically facilitating cross collaboration and mutual access to applications between businesses, vendors, partners, and so on. And then we got Cyber Shield, which is our IDS and IPS and content filtering features. So before I jump into the admin UI, I hope that this intro was give you a basic understanding of what Cloud Conexa is and some of the terminology. Again, when I log into admin UI, we're going to talk about some of these features a little bit more. But as you can see on the slide, this is what makes our service unique. Our service is targeted for small, medium businesses and actually the small to mid-sized businesses. We do have some enterprise clients also. These businesses don't have the network and cybersecurity resources that sometimes is needed to manage a complex solution. So we have taken a particular attention to make our service very easy to use and configure. Now, we eliminate the complexity of configuring routing using IP addresses. Instead, we use domain names. Again, once you see it in admin UI, it makes a little bit more sense. It has built-in content filtering and IDS and IPS feature that it comes with the product. And also the use of economical pay as you use pricing. Basically, that's for simultaneous connections rather paying per user. You can have 50 users, but by 10 connections, for example. And as long as 10 simultaneous connections happens, it doesn't matter how many users you have on the system, 50, 100, thousands, it doesn't really matter. So it's basically simultaneous connection needs. And this is basically the part that we're gonna look at, Cloud Conexa admin UI. So let me go ahead and bring up this screen. So the very first page that you're going to see when you log into the admin UI is a status page. This is basically give you a summary of what's happening on your network. Now, there are some filters down here that you can filter to see some of the connections that happens on your network. You can choose time range, groups, users, and so on. Then obviously, if you look at here, we got users, groups, and devices. Right now, the system is set to use SAML as an authentication method. So as you can see, our local users have been suspended, but the SAML users are still active. So basically, we're using an identity provider to provide authentication here. Now, if I want to choose it to change it to local, I can change it to local on a fly. I'll show you in a second. Then we got groups here. Now, why do we have groups? Again, this is going to help us with the access policies. So we can create different access for different groups to different resources on our networks, no matter how many networks we have connected to Cloud Conexa and how many resources we have. To just give you an idea, as you can see here, I got accounting, sales, and support. So if I go to access groups, you can see I have access policies here for accounting people. They can just access the accounting application on our CCNet network. Sales people, they can access CRM on their CCNet network and tech support time card. So we can set up different groups, group policies for different groups. And we can map our groups from our identity provider to the groups that we have in our Cloud Conexa. So we don't have to manage two different places when it comes to access policies and groups. Now, as far as the networks, here you can see I already have two networks here. This is where you can connect your networks, either site-to-site, remote, however it is, or combination of both or multiple. So basically, you just click on Add Network, you choose your scenario, you choose one or multiple, and then you continue with the wizard, and you can add your network to the Cloud Conexa. Now, if you remember a few minutes ago, I was talking about applications. This is where we can add our applications, not using IP address. So basically, I'm telling the accounting application that it can be used only by HTTP and HTTPS. And then as you saw a couple of minutes ago, you can set up access policies that only a certain group of people, they can access these applications. So this is a nice way of not sharing IP addresses with people. Now, you can protect access to the SaaS applications the same way also. As the number of SaaS applications are increasing daily, implemented a detailed access policy is becoming essential to monitor user interactions with these apps. So let's say that I have Salesforce as in a SaaS application that I have my salespeople need to access. I can come here, add salesforce.com as an application. We create an access policy that only my salespeople, they can access the Salesforce. And then on Salesforce, I have to go and add my Cloud Conexa IP address as a trusted IP address. So it only accepts people that they connected to Cloud Conexa to access Salesforce. In my example here, again, you can do this with almost every SaaS applications. Now, if I move down here to the access visibility, this is one of the latest features we have. It just came online a couple months ago. Basically, it offers a detailed analytics regarding traffic patterns with a within your wide area private cloud or WPC. It tracks and reports on the flow of data from the users, from the hosts, groups, and networks. For example, if I change my time frame to 30, you can see that there are some information here about, for example, the accounting. There were 19 instances of blocked and 6 instances of allowed, and so on. And you can dig in deeper by clicking on these and get into the detailed information, see what was allowed and what was blocked. Now, just below that, we got shields. This is basically our IDS and IPS and our content filtering. You can see I got domain filtering and traffic filtering. Domain filtering, there are 43 categories that you can choose. You can customize it the way you want it, or you can just leave it as it is. It's pretty simple to change it. You just click on configure, and as you can see here, you can go change it to custom and choose or unselect anything that you want. And that goes for the traffic filtering as well. You can select based on priority or protection level, or you can just choose based on categories to filter contents. Now we come to App Hub, and App Hub actually it's the interesting feature here. I think it's pretty useful. Before I start talking about App Hub, let me talk about multiple WPC. As you can see, I'm right now on one of my WPCs here, Cloud Conexa. That's the one. You can have multiple WPCs. As you can see, I got 2 here. That can be, I mean, the reason can be because you have different divisions, different departments, you want to keep separate networks, or you might be an MSP environment and you want to have different WPCs for your clients, keep them separately. But at some point, you may want to share some of the applications between different WPCs or even with an external vendors or partners. And you can come and share that application here. Let's say, for example, as you can see, I got my accounting application here that my accounting team has access to it. Our company want to go hire a CPA that comes and audit this accounting application for the time frame of 2 months or something like this. I can come and share this application with that CPA or that accounting firm. Now, they don't have to be a customer of Cloud Conexa. They don't have to have an account with Cloud Conexa or anything like that. Once we share this, enter their email address, they get an invitation. They basically click on the link that is in the invitation, create an account for them. Again, they don't have to pay for anything, but they can access that application. And at any time you want to take away the sharing permissions, you just come here and stop the sharing. So again, this can happen with external partners, vendors, or it can happen across different WPCs that you may have in your environment. So this is, again, a nice feature that you can use. Now, when it comes to log streaming, again, this is one of our latest features that came online. I think it was about a month and a half ago. Basically, it allows your IT systems to collect events from Cloud Conexa, which will provide information about the following, as you can see on the screen: access visibility, basically OpenVPN tunnel connections, disconnections, failed connection attempts, allowed and blocked traffic flows, blocked access due to content filtering policies, and blocked access to intrusion protection policies. All these logs, they can go to an AWS S3 bucket, and from there you can export them to your SIMs, such as Splunk, Datadog, and other SIMs, and you can have these logs available to you. Now, a couple of last things here I want to talk about. As I said, we have authentication methods on this one. SAML is enabled. You can use LDAP if your IDP provider needs to have LDAP, or you can just use Cloud Conexa, a local settings as an identity provider. But one thing that I want to talk about is device identity verification and enforcement. As I mentioned earlier when we were going through the slides, if you enable this, and this is actually highly recommended, especially if you're moving towards ZTNA, is enforcing this. Basically, once you do that, you have to attach a UUID of an authorized device to user profile. So from now on, the user has to use the same device to connect to Cloud Conexa. So for example, if I go to users here, as you can see, for example, Mia here is one of our users. This is the UUID that it was attached to her profile. So if I enable Dive, basically anytime Mia is going to log into Cloud Conexa, she has to use this device. If she want to use other devices, then we need to add that UUID or the UUID of that device to Cloud Conexa or to her profile so she can use this. Again, this was a quick overview of Cloud Conexa and the features. As you can see, the web admin or user interface here, it's very simple to navigate through and set up different features. And you can connect a network and get everything up and running within 30 minutes, the essential part of it, obviously, and then work on getting things more secure a little bit down the road. But it's pretty simple to configure and get everything up and running. So this was a quick look at Cloud Conexa. I want to ask Rohit to see if he wants to add anything before we move to Access Server. Rohit, do you have anything you want to add here? Did I miss anything, or you want to?
No, you're good. I responded to some questions. If you want, you can go to the answer tab and look at the responses. And Sean, if you want, you can talk about. There was a recent question about access groups and things like that. So you may want to glance at the questions Q&A answer tab and read out some live.
Okay, so yeah, let's look at this. Actually, I like this last question. When I modify, it's from Jan. It says, when I modify access group, the VPN does reconnect instantly, or is it possible to predefine settings and set them live on a schedule? So as you can see, Rohit answered this. Change affects immediately, doesn't need to do any reconnections or anything. Actually, it doesn't trigger the reconnections. So let me go back here, and everything happens on the fly in this product, basically, to be honest with you. Pretty much all of them. So basically, I can go to accounting, click on edit, and add, for example, CRM here, and click on update access groups. Now, it doesn't have to, the users don't have to really reconnect or anything. It doesn't do anything. It just stares, and from now on, all the users, they have access to CRM. So it's pretty quick. And again, it does happen on the fly. So that was a good question. Thank you, Jan. Now, as far as the IP services, Jen had another question here about the will it be possible to not map applications but allow regular IP access to resources? Yes, you can do that. I didn't show that here, but I can very quickly show you here on the network IP services. This is where you can do this. You can add IP services or even routes if you need to do that. I'm more concentrated on applications because, you know, again, when we're talking about hiding or cloaking IP addresses, this is basically what we use. Okay, great, great questions. Thank you very much. And let's move to Access Server. This is our other commercial product. Actually, this was one of our first products that came online back in 2009. Now, what is Access Server? Again, please, just before I continue, if you have any questions, make sure you throw it on the Q&A box. Rohit will answer it, or if we have time at the end of the session, we can answer those live too. So what is Access Server? The short answer is that Access Server provides secure remote access solutions to your private business network in the cloud or on-premise. So it's a self-hosted VPN solution. The OpenVPN Access Server simplifies the deployment of secure remote access and site-to-site solutions. It's built on open source. Basically, we built the Access Server using the OpenVPN open source code and additional open source software like OpenSSL. When it comes to compatibility, maintains compatibility with open source project, usable with various routers and operating systems. Now, if you look at this slide, some of the benefits of Access Server, obviously economy is the same, first one, and the security. Creates a cost-effective, isolated, and secure private network. Ease of management, you know, intuitive admin web portal. You're going to see that again in a second, for very easy installation, setup, and management. Now, flexible deployment. Basically, you have Access Server available on cloud marketplaces, offering diverse deployment options, and you can install it on pretty much all Linux distributions as well. Support both site-to-site and remote access virtual networking, obviously, and scalable. You can manage high volume of connections with load balancing across a cluster of Access Server. And I'm going to talk a little bit about clustering in a minute. Now, the last part is efficient resource utilization. What it means that we allow subscribed connections to be shared across multiple Access Servers. So here are key features of Access Server. The access control, you can set policies to control who can access your network and resources. The fast installations, it's the quick installation with bundled client connection profiles. We have videos out there on YouTube and Vimeo that we show installation on AWS, Azure, different Linux distributions. Literally, it's a very quick installation, matter of minutes, basically. You can deploy it anywhere with the option with the options available on cloud marketplaces, as I mentioned. And then authentication. You can use PAM, Radius, LDAP, SAML, or custom methods. And one of the nice things about this product is you can have multiple methods of authentication. You can have local databases, LDAP, and SAML, all three, for example, enabled on the system. You can do at the system level, then you can do on group level or user level. We're going to talk about that in a second. And then clustering, you can cluster servers for increased availability and load capacity. You can automate tasks with the CLI tools. And then when we're talking about routing supports, basically options for direct and routed connections, including site-to-site routings. So before I jump in the admin UI, let's touch on what makes Access Server different. Again, creates an economical, isolated, and secure private network. It's very easy to install, set up, and manage through the admin user interface. Support both site-to-site and remote access virtual networking, and handles high volume of incoming connections by load balancing over a cluster of access server. And then subscribed connections can be fully utilized by sharing across multiple access servers. So those are some key features of Access Server and what makes Access Server different than other products. Now, let me go ahead, log in. I have to log back in here because obviously I was timed out. And then we can look at the admin user interface of Access Server. Again, like Cloud Conexa, when you log in, you're going to land on the status page. It gives you an overview of what's on your network, basically, or on your Access Server. Now, there are a couple of options here. Current user, you can see any users that's logged in if you need to check it out very quickly. And then the reports, you can filter the reports however you want it based on the time frame, and get the reports that you need. Now, let's look at the configuration. First, I want to talk about activation here because Access Server comes with 2 free connections here. You can use it full feature with those 2 free connections, but at any time, if you want to have multiple, more than that, you can log into the portal and get more activation keys, and you come here and basically paste that activation key in here. So by just pasting it here, if you click on get the activation key, it's just going to get you to Access Portal. This is where you can purchase the activation key. You can choose the number of connection that you need. You can choose if you want to pay monthly or annually, and then proceed with payment and get the activation key that you need for your Access Server. Now, clustering. So what is clustering? As I mentioned it earlier, you can think of it like a team of Access Server delivering privacy and security to your users. They work together to manage connections, and they remove the single point of failure from a traditional setup through one Access Server. So if you need to increase the availability and load capacity of your Access Server environment, this is what exactly you need to do. So basically you come here and you set up your cluster of Access Server. Now, when it comes to network settings, if you have a host name, you can come here and add that host name instead of using the IP address. And then we get to the VPN settings. This is basically when, interesting things happens, basically. Now, first of all, the routing, you can choose if you want to do NAT, if you want to do routing, or you don't want to do any type when it comes to when clients have access to the private subnet. Now, here where it says specify the private subnet, this is where you can specify what subnet you want to have your clients access to. If you have multiple, you can do that. Now, if you have, if you want to secure your SaaS applications, like the way we were talking about in Cloud Conexa, basically you come here and enter the IP address of your SaaS application here, and then you add the Access Server IP address to your SaaS allowed IP addresses. So that's it's a little bit different than Cloud Conexa. Here you use the IP address. And then if you want to push DNS servers, you can set up that here, or you enable it here and enter the information. Now, as far as the client web access, you can configure it, how what operating system you want to show to the clients, and if you want to give them an option of downloading their profiles or not for the connections. Quickly, user management. This is you can enter users or create users, or if you have SAML or LDAP enabled, then the users are going to get added automatically here. For example, Mia using SAML, she was added here. Matt is our local user. We added Matt here. When it comes to group permissions, again, we got groups here, accounting, tech, and sales. Same concept as Cloud Conexa, because we can create access policies based on these groups and users. Now, when it comes to authentication, again, I'm going to come back here very quickly on the users and groups. But as you can see on this system, SAML is enabled as a default authentication for the system. But I mentioned a minute ago that we can have multiple authentication system enabled on Access Server. So let's say that I have SAML as my default authentication system, but I want anybody who's part of my tech team connect locally because they don't have, let's say, the authentication information in my IDP provider. So I can come here and choose local just for my tech team, and then click on Save Settings, and then Update Running Servers. So basically, my tech team are going to use the local authentication to authenticate to Access Server rather than the rest of the people, sales or accounting or any other groups that I have. They're going to use SAML to authenticate to Access Server. So this is a nice feature of Access Server. It's kind of unique feature that you can have multiple identity provider, and you can set up different authentication system based on a system level, group level, or even user level. You can do this. Now, when it comes to enable SAML or LDAP, it's pretty simple, self-explanatory. You come and enable them, and then you enter the information from your identity provider, and that's basically all you have to do. And this is basically a quick rundown on what Access Server can do and how to configure things. Again, it's pretty simple, a little bit different than Cloud Conexa. Well, one thing I want to show you here, obviously, multi-factor authentication is available on both Cloud Conexa and Access Server. You can come here and enable multi-factor authentication if you decide to choose to do so. Also, the password lockout policy. That's probably something that I highly recommend everybody who start using Access Server to come here and reconfigure it. By default, it's 5 attempts and 900 seconds lockout. You probably want to change these numbers. So that was a quick look at Access Server. So if you look at this slide, this is not a comparison between the two products, but actually it's kind of showing the key features of each product. Now, on the Access Server, when we're talking about security protections, basically you can configure access control rules to specify which user or group has access to what IP addresses or subnets, and whether a VPN clients can route to each other. Now, control access to services by IP address, protocols, and ports. Again, that's one of the things that I showed you especially on Cloud Conexa, that we had applications that they could use only HTTP or HTTPS. Routing support, that's one of the features of Access Server. Direct connection, clients basically initiate all communication to this mode. And then the routed connection, server in a static route as a gateway to clients. Basically, clients and devices on the internal network initiate connections. Now, protect access to SaaS applications, even a split tunnel is on. You can do this, as I mentioned it, in Cloud Conexa or Access Server. So both products, you can do this. And then we got Cyber Shield, obviously, and Access in Cloud Conexa, which is our IDS IPS, and content filtering. So I want to thank you for joining us today. I got a couple of slides to go here. I want to basically recap very quickly. We stand as OpenVPN as a company, we stand committed to providing secure, flexible, and user-friendly secure remote access solutions. Our focus is on empowering businesses with robust security that's both accessible and adaptable. And our solutions basically are designed to meet the diverse needs of businesses, regardless of size or industry. From small startups to large enterprises, we, OpenVPN, as a company, provides the tools to secure your network in an evolving digital landscape. And I kind of showed you the overview of both admin user interfaces for Cloud Conexa and Access Server. And I hope that you could see how easy it is to implement and get everything set up. So what's the next step? Obviously, visit our website, openvpn.net. We do have demos, I think it's starting next week, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the week after. Every Thursday at 10 o'clock, we do Cloud Conexa, and then 11 a.m. Pacific time, we do Access Server. This is a demo that basically we show a step-by-step how to connect to a network, in the demo case, how to connect to AWS. and then how to share applications and create users and so on. So you can sign up for the demos on our website. Again, check the website. I think they're going to become available as of next week on February 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So again, thank you for joining us. I want to make sure that there is no question left, or if Rohit want to add anything here, Rohit, please jump in if there is anything you want to add.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, there are no open questions. All the questions have been answered.
Okay, awesome, great, thank you. Yeah, Jan, you have great questions. So which product would make more sense in a multi-site setup? Like Rohit said, I think Cloud Conexa makes it very easy to set up site to sites. Basically a few clicks and go. And again, that's something that we can show you or talk about it during the demos. We have some videos out there on our channels, YouTube channels and Vimeo channels. If there is any other questions, please go ahead, throw it on the Q&A. Other than that, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Appreciate it. When you finish the webinar, you're going to get a survey. Please fill it out. This is going to help us to know what topic to cover in the future. Again, I don't see any questions. You're welcome, Jan. You're welcome, Mark. Thank you. Rohit, someone is asking about the Pro Max. Are you familiar with that? Or Proxmax?
Yeah, I think it's a virtualization system.
Okay, which product will be useful? You know, I'm not sure about this because I'm not familiar with Proxmax. I may have to reach out to support on this, Ram Kumar, unless if Rohit, you have any suggestion here.
If it's just one like a server, you just want access to one application server, let's say running Proxmax from remote clients, then you can use Cloud Conexa and configure that server as a host. So you don't need to expose the entire network. Just that Proxmax server will be accessible remotely. You can even give it a host name. So yeah, I would suggest using Cloud Conexa and configuring it as a host, deploying a connector on that server, and you should be able to get remote access to it.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you, Ram Kumar. Any other questions?
So SNAT right now is a global on and off, but if you put in a support ticket, maybe they can do something out of the ordinary for you. But from the administration portal, it's a global setting.
Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in. Again, thank you very much, everyone. Hope you got something out of this webinar. Have a great day. Be safe. Thank you very much.